Yep. All right. It's time to have another awesome conversation with Rebecca and Amber. Real,
Woo-woo.
raw, authentic, transparent. Let's get this party started. What do you say, Amber?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Speaking of parties, Rebecca, I want to know what do you want to talk to us about today?
Yeah, you know what? I was absolutely blown away this weekend or this week by a topic that I was bringing up and how much it absolutely just it put the achievers I was talking to trembles like, oh, how, who, and it really hit them hard. And it was a topic that I really feel was quite surprising that it was such a big deal. But when I realized that my mind was blown on this, I realized I should also bring it here because that means if the group of achievers that meet in the Unshakable Life community are all feeling this, that means all the people that we're ready to talk to, they're feeling this too. And so I actually want to talk about fun today because there's so many aspects to this that I think that as achievers, as leaders, as business people, professionals, we're so much about we hear these words like work and then play, work then play. And I know myself as an entrepreneur, there is no done work. Like, what is that? That does not happen. There is always something calling for us to do. And so we get this belief system that was put into our map as we grew up, work and then play. I don't know about you guys. It was true for me. It was consistently about work before play. I think makes something something. I can't remember the rest of the saying. I just remember work before play, and that's what I needed to do. And then what happens is days go by, weeks go by, months go by, and it's like shoot. And so I posed this question to our group, and I just said, "Hey, when's the last time you all had fun?" And the looks on their faces was like I had just caught them doing something naughty. Like they were just absolutely godsmacked. Like they didn't know how to answer that question. They're like, I can't remember. I really can't remember. And they were looking off into the distance. And I was like, okay, we need to talk about this. We really do. Because here's the thing. And I mean, especially for entrepreneurs or people who are building a big vision, even authors, the way you get into your creative mind, this is what I always say, fun is a birthplace of vision. And that is a hard fought lesson I learned. It really is. I never gave myself permission to play. I still struggle with it even today. But realizing not only do I need to get some play into my life, but I need to make that a must in every day. Every single day there needs to be play. And I think that's how we got the sign in my kitchen. I'll have to put up a picture of it, but it just says, we love dancing in the kitchen. It's all about dancing in the kitchen. And that's what I do. Even in my pink fluffy bathrobe, my kids love to talk about me being pink marshmallow dance in the kitchen doing churning butter. But if you don't do that, you gotta like get get your groove on sometimes, and it'll really change your life. And I can tell you how it changed mine. I will tell you the entire framework that Arrow's Edge Coaching runs on, the entire business vision, the entire coaching framework was all downloaded to me in the middle of fun. Fun is the birthplace of vision. If I wouldn't have gotten out and had fun, I would not have the blueprints, all of the things that I'm now living out in real life in my business. It couldn't have happened because again, fun is the birthplace of vision. It's where I discovered it. It's like, oh, I got to get out of my mind. I've got to get into my creative, and nothing does that better than movement. Rest is not sitting on the couch eating bonbons. It's really not. That's actually sometimes very stressful. Because what I've noticed we all love the action movies and things like that, but your brain doesn't realize it's not really happening and it's actually bringing up cortisol. And so you think you're resting, just lazy watching a movie, but you're actually upping your cortisol levels just by sitting there watching the movie. But what does it look like to make the very thing in front of you fun? And so I challenged one of my friends. She works in government, and I challenged her today to make her government job fun. And she looked at me like I was a green alien that just hit the planet. Like, how do I do that? And I was like,
Oh,
it is all how you're showing up. It's the energy you're bringing. What do you think, Amber?
yeah. I first of all, I think we need to define fun or maybe redefine fun. Because immediately, like when you talk about your government friend, I'm like, yeah, but if fun costs money, if it happens outside of my home, if it means I take a vacation or have an adventure, right? Like if it's something out here, then it feels unachievable in every day. And so I think maybe with us starting that, another thing I'd like us to talk through when we get a chance is this idea of work-life balance. Um, because I we know that's a lie. But we strive for that. And I was thinking about my childhood and this idea of like work first and then play. And so it's this we're going to earn our play. We're going to earn our rest. If I put in the work, then I can do this, then I can do that. And I'm guilty of doing that with my kids as a mom. Right? Like let's get this done and then we can go play. And so let's start with that idea of redefining fun. That it's because it feels unattainable. It feels like a carrot, honestly, that we're dangling, right? And like I will never get there until I can go to Hawaii and see a waterfall and all of these things. But you're talking about bringing fun into my everyday life. And so tell us a little bit more about that because I think this is revolutionary.
Yeah, you talked about going to Hawaii and seeing the waterfall, and I kind of giggled at that too because how many family vacations are not, especially for like the mom sometimes, or because you're doing so much work and labor to serve the family while you're having fun that it's not that way all the time. So I kind of giggled about that one. It's like this funny version we have in our heads that's kind of twisted up that's going to be the answer to our problem, and it's really not, because I talk about time management as a mindset, not a strategy. I think the same principle applies here because I think that fun is how you're showing up to what you're doing. If I can make my work fun, for instance, I serve coaching clients. That's what I do. That's what I love to do. But there's this funny thing called call reluctance. If you've ever been in sales training, like everybody goes through it. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this right now, right? I don't really have that with my coaching clients, but I do have that with, sales related calls. And it's like, oh, because you're meeting a new person, it's uncomfortable, and even networking is uncomfortable, and you don't know, and you don't want to be judged, you don't want to be humiliated, you don't want to say something stupid, and so you're putting on all of these masks, and you're tight in your energy, and it so sabotages you anyways. But what if you walk into things like that with fun in mind? And so for me, when I sit down in front of any person, that I've redefined it. Instead of being nervous about meeting somebody, worried about being socially awkward, saying something dumb, sounding old, something like that, right? My kids are bringing up, hey, mom, I've got old words that I've been using that I'm like, they were new like a week ago, I swear. But this is what I think of when I go into a call and some new person's going to get in front of me, or I'm walking into a room to do some networking and meeting new people, which, by the way, used to really terrify me. I think of it as like a new trail to hike. It's it's full of adventure, full of things to discover and see, and full of potential. And so if I'm showing up to my calls like that, I'm having fun. Like I'm having fun. I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I see? What can I get to know? What's inside this person that might be a great view or a neat peak moment for that person? What is the potential in collaborating with this person or meeting this person or learning more about this person? And it's really amazing when I show up like that. Number one, I have a different energy. My shoulders aren't tight. I'm not, the cortisol's not up and I'm not in the amygdala, I would say, flea feeling that usually is coming on, like, get me out of here. I remember the first time I ever went to a networking thing, I sat there and thank God my husband was there because I was like, I want to leave. I don't want to go in there. I just and I had to reframe it. It's actually about how I'm approaching what's in front of me. And I challenge all of you today just to think a little bit. How can I make the things that are in front of me every day fun? The things that you do. How can I make doing laundry fun? And you can, by the way. There are different ways. Being playful, doing it with somebody else. Um, Throwing it like, hey, here's a shirt, go fold it, and just bring joy into it. And the other thing is, okay, so it's the story you're telling yourself. It's your mindset and how you're coming into something that will change it into fun. But it's also what energy are you bringing into it? Because if it's tight and I'm scared and I'm afraid and all the stories, or if I'm coming just in wonder, ready to do something new, it's going to change how my body's even showing up. My shoulders won't be so tight. And people will gravitate more to you because you're not so uptight, just so how many things could we make really fun just by changing how we're showing up in the room and how we think about those things.
Yeah. And I love that you said that word wonder. That's what I wrote down as you were talking. There's this curiosity when you're going into these things that really opens up this adventure and this fun. And I think that curiosity, it's a thing that like kind of keeps circling around in different circles. And there's something really powerful about that. And even that challenge of like, how can you make what you're doing fun? How can you bring fun into it? That starts with curiosity and wonder. I'll often say things like, I wonder. And so maybe that's where you're at. Like, I wonder what I could do to make laundry fun tonight. And maybe it's putting on music and like, like dancing around with it or imagining, if you're folding your kids' laundry, imagining them wearing it and like the adventures that they had in it or, like there's just so many aspects of this. But I feel like that curiosity is what opens the door
Yeah.
actually to have the type of fun that you're talking about.
Yes.
And
Yes,
it,
because it's like hiking the trail and going, wow, what views can I see? What animals might be along on the hike, right? Like, what are the different adventures I can have in the midst of a hike? Which, by the way, hikes are not easy. It's not mountain hikes, anyways. But they're easier when you're looking at them in a place of curiosity and wonder.
yeah, it's interesting. It reminds me there's someone in my life who will hike with me. Um, Not their favorite thing to do. And it almost becomes a to-do list item. And so I've had to be able to say, like, hey, this hike that I'm going on today is for fun. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be there. I don't know how many miles I'm going to put in, right? But this isn't something that I'm crossing off my to-do list today. This is something that I'm showing up for to really embrace and be present in the moment. And so it's funny, even that hiking metaphor, right? Like for you and I, hiking is fun. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sign me up. Yes, I'll go. I don't care where. I'll go. Um, because we know it'll be an adventure. But I think for people who are really high achieving, really productive, really driven, even something even fun like a hike can become another thing to cross off their to-do list. And so what would you say to the people that are thinking that, like, yeah, I'll go hike if I can get 4 miles in an hour and a half and move on to the next thing?
That's funny you would say that because that actually has happened to me. And I'm like, wait, what are we here for? Because
Mm.
I'll be like, oh, we only hiked 5 miles today. That's not a real hike. because the warrior mode, the workaholic, the achiever, especially the achiever. I was on a hike last weekend. I walked 13 miles and I the elevation was about 1700, which isn't a ton for us, but it's nothing to sniff at, right? And we had run out of time because you had to hike out to the mountain and then climb up the mountain. So we made it about three-quarters of the way up the mountain. We're like, we need to turn around and get back because of time. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I didn't make the peak. And I'm like, Rebecca, you just walked 13 miles on like, and I'm on a very low calorie diet plan right now. I'm like, you hardly ate anything. It's amazing. Like, so I think there's an aspect where we all will fall into it at times. And man, I was talking to a client yesterday and she was really bringing up the awareness she's gotten since we've worked together. It's actually just being aware of yourself. So I had to become aware of like, Rebecca, you did walk 13 miles. That is a good hike. That's the like, and so there's something to be said about just being aware of your own patterns, which sometimes getting people to do that is like pulling teeth. I have this thing I'm trying to get our community to do, and nobody wants, they do not want to do it. And I'm like, but I'm telling you, it'll change your life because you'll reveal your own patterns in it. When you realize what it is, then you can change it. But if you don't realize your own patterns, you're going to be stuck in those same patterns. And then I think the other thing about that, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's self celebration that needs to happen that makes things fun. I learned something, it sticks in my little brain so much. I, I was listening to Joseph McClendon III, and he is just incredibly hilarious, but a very powerful speaker. And he was talking about the self celebration because celebration and praise is the language of the subconscious. So if you want to teach your subconscious to agree with what you're wanting to do and the direction you're wanting to go, you have to train that through celebration. And that is the hardest thing for me to learn to do. But he taught it down to the baseline. He taught us even when we go poop, we should turn around and look down, see what's in there, and go, yeah, 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 good job, buddy. And celebrate that. Yes, I walk out like, yeah. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But that put a little degree of fun into our lives. Like me and my husband were at the same conference listening to him, and he talked about how his son will walk through the door and self-celebrate. He'll be like, oh, and like, here I am. And will just put his arms out like, and he does that too. I think he's 73 years old, looks like he's 40 because he's so stinking healthy. But he'll do that too. And he's gotten good at self-celebration. We have to be able to soak that up and take that in because it gives us that fuel that we need to go forward. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding us. But I'll tell you what happened after that is me and my husband for a very long time, he would walk through a door and he'd be like, oh, the glory. Or like one of us would come out after using the restroom and be like, yeah, that was a good one, right? And it added some fun between us. It honestly did. We would be like, okay, right? And we'd smile and we'd laugh and the mood would become light. And you think about it, poop on its very base level. Nobody. But if you talk about it in that way and you laugh about it in that way, instead of focusing on, oh man, that stunk, or kind of shaming the person over it, now we're like celebrating it. And the more you celebrate, like the more fun you're having. So I think there's this self-awareness and this self-celebration. And that's not like being prideful either. Anyone who's seen Joseph McClendon in the 30s, not prideful in the way he is so loving and so kind and so generous but yet he self-celebrates. And it's not pride. And let me just explain that and then we'll switch back to you, Amber, because I know you have so much value to add in this conversation. But we had to learn that pride is, being too much about yourself or sometimes thinking too low of yourself are both prideful. actual humility is being totally comfortable and confident in who you are. In other words, being in true humility is part of being unshakable. It just is because I know who I am. I celebrate what's true about myself confidently. And that is absolutely not only okay, but needs to happen. We have to stop beating ourselves up and be excited about all little things, including pooping. What do you say, Amber?
I love it. I love it. And so I have to share um, about one of my kids. I have 14-year-old twin boys, by the way. And we all got pictures one night because it was such a glorious poop that everybody had to see it, right? And I think so. I'm like thinking about that, like that was some celebration, which, but it added laughter, it added fun, not just for him, but for our whole family, right? Like we were all in on this, we're all laughing. And I think that is, that laughter is the cheapest way to have fun.
Yes.
And there's always something, I mean, I will watch these stupid dad jokes on TikTok or whatever, and then come and like tell them to my kids and like nail the punchline. And they're like, Mom, that is so dumb. But I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying. Like
Yes.
I have tears rolling down my face because I think I'm hilarious. And, and you know what happens? Eventually, they all start laughing with me, right? Like they can't not, but it's bringing that element. And so now my 11-year-old sends me on Snapchat all of these dad jokes. and, and they're listening for me to like belly laugh because then they know they're going to hear me run down the hall and be like, you guys, I have a joke for you. And so it's just this like how, so even like for some people, this idea of fun, it feels really out there. It feels really untouchable. And we're helping to bring that down. But I wonder if even starting with like, where can I laugh today?
Yeah.
Right? Or who can I laugh with?
Mm.
Well, what would it look like to show up in that posture of openness? And as you were talking, I'm like, this is really all about not taking ourselves so seriously. Right? Like, I mean, I have had dance parties in Target with friends and
Yes.
for Pete's sake, like looking like fools. But that's what makes it fun. And that's what, like, and so I think when we can remove this embarrassment or I have to look a certain way or, present a certain way or whatever, when we can remove that, it actually gives us some space to be a little goofy, to laugh. And oh, and I'm like feeling this right now. For some of us, our laugh, we learn to be embarrassed by it. And so I just want to talk to you for a minute. If that's you, maybe you laugh really loud or like you have something really unique about your laugh. And I just am like, I know people who from childhood, right? Like that's the most annoying laugh. Don't laugh. And maybe you've been like shut down in that because of your laughter. And I would just say laughter is beautiful. I have never heard anyone's laugh that I haven't just been like, ha. It's just beautiful. And so laugh, like laugh, remove any shame from that and just let that be. And honestly, if you have to fabricate some laughter, you can do that. It still tricks your body, right? Like it still is that same thing of like, yes, the dopamine is being released and all of these things. And so that might be the doorway to more fun in your life. Where can you laugh? Who can you laugh with? What can you laugh about?
Yes. And to bring it home, this is a must. This is not a work, 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 and then I'll try to squeeze in some play. This actually has to start changing immediately your mindset and your approach on things because that's where the innovation comes, that's where the creativity flows, that's where the ideas. I always talk about get in your head, you're dead, get in your heart, you're smart. You're starting to operate from like the subconscious being healthy. And it really does. I was thinking about, man, how much time that we are wasting and spending in a low state
Mm.
with negative energy, thinking about how I goofed up and what I didn't do right. And I the amount of time I've taken beating myself up over the years is actually, I think I'm so busy, but maybe if I just cut out beating myself up, I would save a ton of time and I would be way more productive and way more open and way more fulfilled. I mean, what would it look like if you made fun, daily fun, a must? It sounds insane, like it doesn't fit, but part of your workday needs to be fun. It does. And it can look so many different ways, can it?
Yes. Yeah. It reminds me of that old quote, old all work and no play makes, was it Tom a dull boy, right? And like you, I mean that's way back. That's older than both of us. But it's so true. Like that focus on just work and crossing things off the to-do list and getting things done. It really dulls our life and it dulls our sparkle. And that's what achievers have that they bring to the world is something bright and shiny. And so why risk dulling that when you can just step in and find that fun each day? Uh, yeah. One thing I would add on to this too is just the joy of anticipation.
Mm.
And because that unlocks in our brain the same thing that gratitude does. So even if it hasn't happened yet, if I'm planning it, right? Like I am looking forward to it. And so just a few ideas, like maybe that's, I mean, I have a bucket list Pinterest board, right? Like, and so there are things that pop up and I'll just read through and every once in a while I'll just scroll through there. Like, what can I make happen this year? What's achievable. But even 5 minutes of like, oh, I can just imagine going here and experiencing this and looking at the pictures, right? Like it boosts my mood, it boosts my, and then it honestly opens me up for more fun. Because now I'm like, I'm primed, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready for an adventure. My curiosity is open. Um, yeah.
I just see it almost as, with our listeners today, if they're like these closed pop cans, and I see that if they can just
Mm.
pull the tab and just open it up, then all that, like, it's a shaken pop can. So it's just all gonna fizz out and it'll build and it'll grow. And before you know it, if you make a practice of, wait, how can I make this fun? Because fun is the birthplace of vision. And if I want more vision, if I want to innovate, if I want to grow, fun has to be part of it. And so when I really realize that and I get a good why behind me, man, all that stuff starts to bubble up and you realize, where has this been my whole life? And why have I not been doing it? I know the last couple of months I was thrown off a little bit. I was battling a health challenge and it drained my energy. And so it was like that warrior, like I just gotta show up and push through the
Mm.
day, right? And I even had to self correct, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No wonder why I'm exhausted. I haven't had fun in a while. And so, what does that look like? Well, I just got to shake it off and go do something silly and be
Yeah.
myself and stop worrying about what others think. And I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but go do something silly. Go to the store and walk in all of your glory with your arms up like here I am. Like I dare y'all to just do it once. My husband's done it. It's adorable. He does it like okay, yeah. But just what is one fun thing you can do today? Okay, is a really good question. And what is one thing that you're not currently seeing as fun that you can make into a mindset of fun? That's my challenge to our viewers today.
I love that. I love that. And I just want to drop a quick word. I had mentioned balance, like that work-life balance. What we're talking about is integration.
Yeah.
Really. It's not, oh, I'm going to work 8 hours and then I'll save time for fun or I'm going to, right? Like balance, it's integrating. And
Yes.
so we're integrating fun into the work that you're doing. integrating fun into your family time, into your fitness, into your health, right? Like, where can you integrate fun into this? Because it's not going to balance, but let's bring it in. And let's let this be part of who we are because it really does make you unshakable. When you can show up in any circumstance with a mindset of curiosity and celebration for yourself and others, and be aware of how you're showing up, and you can bring the laughter and joy. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I've noticed it's not so much about how you look physically, it's about the energy you bring into a room that makes you look good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any last words as we wrap this episode up today? This was
Wow.
fun, by the way.
It was fun. It was fun. If you're listening, make sure that you send us an email or let us know, like, this is what I tried. This is what I did. This is how I'm opening up on fun. And if being a part of a community of achievers, you're like, I want to be, I want to be in on that, please reach out because we meet every Monday for our Unshakable Life community. And you guys, we are learning and growing together, and we are finding community. We are building that in a beautiful way. And there's just so much momentum on that right now. And we would love to see if you would be a good fit. So reach out and let's see about getting you plugged in.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any last words?
That's it.
All right. We'd love to have y'all in our community where we are real, raw, authentic, and fun.
Yes.
So, all right. Bless you guys till next time.